Ooh, 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 ooh. Only if Harvey Weinstein ever produced Star Trek. Oh, the films of Star Trek. I wonder. See, there's a man. Well, I could just about barely call him a man. Probably says he was male on his birth certificate, but that's not a man. You can be male, but he's not a man. Like Jimmy Savile. He was a paedophile. I don't call that a man. Yes. Male, yes. Man, no. I think a man is something different than that. A man has integrity, where these people don't. Well, okay, Jimmy Savile never went on trial, so he might be... No. Does anybody really think he's innocent? Does anybody really think Harvey Weinstein is innocent? Yeah, it sounds like I'm a hypocrite because I said that Osama bin Laden was just murdered. Well, I don't think he was murdered. I think he died of natural causes. I think he died of kidney failure because he was on a dialysis machine. Didn't you know that? Oh, they wouldn't tell you that, would they? In the Tora Bora caves, there's loads of dialysis machines. That's where they make them. There's a big factory there. That's where they make them. So that's why he went there. He worked for the CIA. This morning on the radio, there was a clip of some sound, some recording of these people who were so happy that they'd murdered Gaddafi. Oh yeah, we shot him with a 9mm. Well, great, great. Thank you for that. You murdered him. He didn't have a trial. He was loved by his people. He was growing food with the oil revenue. He was putting it back into the country that he loves, that he loved, for the people. And when he got married, you were given a gift. I think it was 60, the equivalent of £60,000 or dollars. It doesn't matter really. Does anybody do that to us in this country? No, of course not. So he was using the oil revenue, the wealth that his country was providing, and putting it back into the infrastructure of the country, irrigating the desert, growing food, not having to import to feed the nation. And that's why he was regarded so highly by his people. Now, there's no way that if he was left alone, if these rebel factions hadn't been armed and financed by the West, which they definitely were, then he would now, and many other countries in the Middle East, would be using the gold standard, and they'd fuck off the American oil dollar, because that's just bullshit. Fiat currency cannot prosper. And him and, of course, Iraq leader Saddam Hussein. And once they'd started it, of course, most of the Middle East would have gone onto the gold standard, and America would be on its knees having to pay for oil with gold, because they ain't got any. I think they give it all to the Chinese. Oh well, who knows? So so that's the reason he was murdered. Nice. And now Libya, of course. Are you going to go there on your holidays? No. No, me neither. Because it's just so we're led to believe it's in turmoil. And it certainly wasn't before Gaddafi was murdered, as was Iraq. Iraq was a perfectly stable country before the West got did all sorts of shady deals, and then of course withdrew them. You know, the Kuwait was the thing when that was in 1990, I think, 91 maybe, when they invaded. I think it was 91 when they invaded Kuwait, because Kuwait, guess what? They were stealing Iraqi oil. Kuwait was a little country, and they were drilling. The rigs were on the border, yet they were drilling horizontally. Now I know if you think you're living on a spinning ball, you might not understand what horizontal means. But if you look at the horizon, that on the water, that is horizontal. That means level. It means level, flat and level. So the Kuwaitis were drilling horizontally into the Iraqi oil field, and stealing their oil. Though Saddam Hussein rang up the America, I'm obviously making it simplifying it for us all. Rang up and said, told them what they were doing. They said, I'm going to go and fucking fix them. All right? The Yanks said, all right, by us, yeah, I don't care. So they went in there. As soon as they did, of course, the Americans stormed in, and shock and awe. Oh, no, that came later, didn't it? When they murdered countless innocent people, because nobody's ever counted them. Nobody said, oh, here's the figure. Here's the number of people that were murdered by Tony Blair and George Bush. No. See, if true justice were done, those two would be they would be tried in an international court, and of course found guilty of murder and locked up forever. You can't sue the conscience, salve your conscience by becoming religious. Oh, I've found God, like Tony did. Became a Catholic, and then he could, of course, confess. It'd be a fucking long time in that confessional box. And the poor priest who was listening to him, well, I would have. I know that it's completely confidential, supposedly, but I'm afraid I would be recording it. See, any autonomous state should be kept out. It's none of our business, none of anybody's business what they do, as long as they don't murder other people. And if a wrong has been done, then it should be put right. But that doesn't mean murdering innocent people. And when I say innocent people, what do I mean by that? Well, in war, all's fair, so they say, but no, it isn't. If you've got a uniform on, you're in the forces. Therefore, you are a target because you are likely to kill. If you've got a uniform on, that means you are a combatant, and you are then a target for the other side. Now, life has to go on. People have to get out of bed in the morning and do everything that they normally do. They usually do. So that they should not be targets. You know, women, children, and men who have no uniform, who drive trains or have a shop or mend boots. I don't know. There's a myriad of jobs, but oh yeah, let's kill all them people. You don't know what they have in their mind. You don't know whether they like this or they don't like that, or you don't care. You're just going to kill them. You don't want to get to know them. You just want them dead. And does that mean that then their infrastructure, the country's supply lines get weakened? There's no more boots on the shelf because all the cobblers are dead. That sort of thing, you know. So when Harvey Weinstein is brought to trial, he'll be found guilty. I'm going to say he's guilty. Is Jimmy Savile innocent or guilty? Would you let Edward Heath babysit if you had two 10-year-old boys? Would you let him babysit? Would you let Cyril Smith babysit your little lad? No. If you say yes, you're a fool. You are a monster. You are supposed to protect your children, not dish them into the arms of fucking monsters. So, who knew about Harvey? Who knew about Jimmy Savile? Who knew about Edward Heath? Loads of people. And they're all complicit. Just like NASA. Just like Buzz. He knows he hasn't been to the moon. In fact, on his deathbed, when he thought it was his deathbed when he went to Antarctica, he didn't know about this. When he was there, he thought he was going to die. And he actually said, I didn't really go to the moon. Oh. And then he got better, and he said, I was just kidding. So it's coming. It's coming. I think all the people who pretended to go to the moon will have to die, probably, before there is that avalanche of truth that's going to come and hit us. And then hopefully the rest of it will fall apart, just like the fake station would have done fucking years ago if it was really going around that at 17,500 miles an hour under all that different temperatures. Come on. No metal that I know of, unless, oh, hang on, there's unobtainium. That would do it. Yeah, of course, that's what it's made of, isn't it? Unobtainium. You don't need any seals or anything with that stuff. It's looking great. You don't even need, I tell you what, you don't even need airlocks because you can just pass through it. It's, you know, its atoms relax. You knock on the door, the flappy door, and it lets you in.